Welcome to another edition of our YouTube channel, Southeast Asia Vibes, The Good Life. My name is Victor. I'm a former resident of New York who now lives in beautiful and tropical Southeast Asia. I just got fed up with the high crime, cold winters, and rat race of New York City. I now live the life of my dreams here in Southeast Asia, in Philippines, and have lived or traveled all over Southeast Asia, such as Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, etc. As long as you know what you are doing, you too can live the life of your dreams here in this tropical paradise at literally 90% cheaper than what you would pay in Miami or Hawaii with the same high standard of living. However, if you don't know what you are doing, it could mean a one-way ticket back home. As an expert and somebody who has lived or traveled all over Southeast Asia, I receive many emails daily from people who want to move here, live here, and escape the rat race, and they ask for my guidance. A lot of other YouTube videos, they tend to sugarcoat everything because they want views and subscribers, so they are not being totally honest. I don't charge for my advice, but many people still feel very grateful as I take the time to answer all their questions and emails, either by email or, if you prefer, by a WhatsApp phone call. So they insist to make a small donation just to support the channel. It's up in the description box above, and also my email, so that if you have any questions or email, or if you like a WhatsApp call. Now today, our topic, we're going to discuss about my experience with Filipina women. Now, I'll tell you this. Keep this in mind. In every group, you have good and bad people. In every group, in every nationality, there's there's a few bad apples in every group. However, I will say that there's far fewer bad apples among Filipinos. They have a friendly disposition, incredibly hospitable. Again, as I mentioned, there are a few bad apples. So I have had bad experiences with Filipinos, but by and large, I've had really, really good experiences. Let me tell you, I was living in Queens, New York City, and sometimes there's gangbangers. The crime is out of control in certain parts of Queens. Like, you would always be looking over your shoulder. And so it's an incredibly liberating experience here in Philippines, where you really don't have to worry about that. Like, if you walk outside, you mind your business, you don't bother anyone, nobody's going to cause trouble with you. I mean, it happens, but on a far, far, far less frequency than it would back in, let's say, New York City. I can walk here. I'm not the least bit worried about my safety. I could go to the worst part of Manila. I'm not the least bit worried about my safety. Try walking around in Times Square, Manhattan at like 2 a.m. All right. So it's really, that's one thing that I really like about here. Now, I will say that I have had an experience with some Filipinas that you will not find a woman who could be possibly any worse than them. That being said, my wife now is from Philippines, and she's the best woman I ever met in my whole life. Just to give you an example, when we first met several years ago, we didn't initially, we first moved in together. And 2 weeks after we moved in, I get a little bit emotional when I think about this. 2 weeks after she moved in with me, I felt sick and I had vertigo. It got to the point where it was so bad, like if I couldn't stand up, I would fall down. Vertigo is like you just get dizzy suddenly. It just happened all of a sudden. I honestly don't know how it happened, but thank God, after roughly about 10 days or like a week, it was over. It just left as suddenly as it started. But it was so incredibly, I was so stressed out because I woke up one morning and, normally I wake up in the morning, I stand up, brush my teeth or whatever. This particular morning When I woke up and I proceeded to stand up, I literally fell to the floor. It was really scary. And so my wife now, who was my girlfriend back then, she bought me medicine, took me to the hospital, and she did everything for me. She bought me food because I was basically immobile. She did everything, and this was literally 2 weeks after we first met. I often make a joke now that she that that she makes a joke actually that I didn't tell her the truth, that maybe I was actually looking for a caretaker. Nothing could be further from the truth. I really just it was the first time in my life that I got so sick, and it just happened by coincidence. It was 2 weeks after I met her. So this is the best woman in the world. She's from the province Cagayan de Oro, in the Philippines. And I've met, now that I live here, my interaction with Filipinos, with so many, are really positive. They're incredibly gracious and hospitable, but there are a few bad apples. Just remember, for all these emails I get, single guys, they asking me about Filipino women, there are a few bad apples. You as a man will know if you're being used. Life happens, in just pay attention. I mean, if you pay attention to what's going on, you will know if you are being used. Okay? I mean, they ask you for money, things like that. Just, you will know. It's common sense. Now some women might try and disguise it, but just pay attention. The truth will always come out sooner than later, especially the more time you spend with them, you will see their true colors. My advice to every man is, if you happen to be one of the unlucky ones and you find a bad woman, and if you meet a bad Filipina, she could very well be the worst woman you will ever encounter. But more of them are far, far better. More of them are good than bad. And let me tell you straight, if you find a good Filipina, nobody will treat you better. Trust me when I say that. That's it for this edition of Southeast Asia Vibes, The Good Life. Until next time, take care, everybody.